the two teams.
Quite easily, and obviously the threat of Ryan Giggs uppermost in Howard Wilkinson's mind. We've talked about the front men in this game and the ability of them, but I do feel that it could be in midfield that this game could be won and lost, with those two players, Paul Ince and Gary McAllister, holding the key.
Brian McClare's commitments here have meant missing his sister's wedding earlier this afternoon. Liz McClare became Mrs. Donald McLaughlin up in Glasgow, and on behalf of Brian and all of us here, we wish them every happiness. Philip Don has risen to the heights of refereeing the FA Cup final, more recently the Olympic football tournament in Barcelona. Manchester United, this great footballing institution, trying to rid the club of this complex about the championship, which they failed to win since the flower power days of 1967, a date in the hearts of all their fans. All three Leeds titles have come since then. While saying that the grass might be on the long side, the pitch vastly improved. It was a factor that told against them as they faltered in the final weeks of last season. Darren Ferguson, Mark Hughes. Now Ince making some space for himself, perhaps before Leeds settle. The header from Dennis Irwin, who started at right back with Clayton Blackmore on the left.
Natural right footer, isn't he, Dennis Irwin? Perhaps they know that Eric Cantona perhaps may operate on that left side as well, Mark, and they're thinking, well, we're better having a natural right-footed player there on Dennis.
Dennis, of course, who started with Leeds United, and in the parlance of the fans, is a Leeds reject.
And I'm just looking very early. It looks like Fergie's pulled a little flanker here as well. Do you know what he's done? He's changed Ryan Giggs and Andrei Kanchelskis. So now you've got Chris Fairclough, direct opposition to Andrei Kanchelskis. That's what we said about this game might not just be won on the pitch.
Yes, that's happened since the game started. Kanchelskis went out on the right-hand side, and immediately, once they'd realised where Fairclough was going, the switch was made. Here's Batty, McAllister. Well, there's your duel, Andy, in prospect straight away. It looked to me a foul by Ince on McAllister.
It looked to me a foul as well, but it's exactly the type of start we predicted, wasn't it? I think, to be fair to the referee, he wasn't in a very good position to see it. There were a lot of bodies between him and the ball. But watch this. I mean, that's a free kick, isn't it? But he needs a little bit of help from linesman who's on the near side in those situations.
Just to carry on the tactical theme, now Tony Dorigo is staying at left back. Of course, you might recall he turned down the opportunity to play for England as a substitute at right back, so they, not wanting to switch Fairclough across to the left, have moved Dorigo onto the right-hand side. So
I think what they'll feel, Mark, they'll feel that Tony Dorigo has got what he needs to compete against Ryan Giggs. He's got pace, he's got recovery speed, and he may cause Ryan Giggs a few problems going the other way. So I think they'll be quite happy, Leeds, at that.
Rodney Wallace, another newcomer for England. Giggs of Wales, Irwin of the Republic of Ireland. Here's Bruce, Chapman trying to apply some pressure. Brian McClare, who floats about the pitch, really. He's not an out-and-out front man. He comes from midfield, and on Friday, I think it was, Leeds set up a training game and asked Steve Hodge to play for the reserve team against the senior side in the Brian McClare role. They're concerned about him. Here's Hughes. Good work from him. All the plans can be nullified by some purposeful play early in the game. And Giggs coming in from the right-hand side, showing that he's got something to offer.
A real positive start from Manchester United, hasn't it? They've really taken a grip of the game. And Ryan Giggs showing that the goal against Forest is inspiring them to get in from crosses from the opposite side.
The winner today, if there is one, would go fourth in the Premier League. Wallace, whose older brother Danny is a Manchester United substitute. His twin brother Ray is a Leeds reserve.
Might be interesting to see if they look for Gary Speed at the far side.
Well, it got to him via the head of Bruce. Oh, Cantona, the player who's popped in every half chance that's come his way so far. And Steve Bruce was let off lightly then. It's a corner, in fact. It's a weak header by Bruce's standards.
But you know what helps Gary Pallister here? It's that he doesn't take it with his left foot there, but wants it to run across his body.
McAllister will take the corner. Coming up to 5 minutes played. And Chapman, who's scored in the last two games here for Leeds, both 1-1 draws. And last season's goal was as close as Leeds have come to winning.
This is not good marking. You see Steve Bruce go away from Chapman there and allowing him time and space for a free header. But a good response from Leeds.
Well, it is a building site at that end of the ground. Everywhere else, it's true to the traditions of this famous club. Fatty, who seems very much the right type of combatant for this sort of contest.
Yeah, I think 18 months ago, 2 years ago, people would be looking at David Batty very closely today, wouldn't they, and saying, would his temperament stand up? But I think in the last 2 years he's improved that to such an extent. Howard Wilkinson doesn't even think about it now.
Newsom takes the free kick. Chapman, Cantona, hoping to help it on towards Speed. Eric Cantona, one of 3 attackers for Leeds United this season. Possibly has left them a little light in midfield. Certainly they've been more vulnerable defensively. 4 goals put past them by Middlesbrough. 2 late in the game after his 2 for Leeds on Tuesday night at Oldham. The ground where, incidentally, Leeds have never done well, so they were quite happy to get away with 1 point in the end, although, of course, very, very close to 3. Mark Hughes, 3 goals so far. And 1 critically against Crystal Palace to turn 1 point into 3 and to bring Manchester United into this game with 3 consecutive victories. And in those games, they've not conceded a single goal. Fairclough leaving it for Newsom. Steered down by Chapman. Wallace coming in from the right. McAllister. Chapman. Further away by Bruce that time. Speed. Chapman. Batty's there if required. Well, Leeds almost as if they were restricted to playing the ball first time in that attack. It was fast and it was potentially dangerous to Manchester United.
If we get an early goal with both teams showing so confidence to go forward, we could be in for a real classic this afternoon.
McClare, his speed, keeping an eye on him. Because sometimes the anticipation is greater than the actuality in fixtures of this significance. But the early signs on the pitch are very encouraging indeed. 8 minutes played. Hughes. Irwin going ahead of the man on the ball, who was Mark Hughes. Cantona. Leeds had dropped back in numbers. McAllister. And Ince takes it from him. McClare. And once more, Speed had him in his sights. It's another contest that's shaping up. For the moment, Rodney Wallace has gone to the left-hand side for Leeds. On the left hand, Manchester United, is Kanchelskis. Fairclough couldn't get to him. It goes off Newsom for a corner. Well, Blackmore is going to take the corner. Irwin's often involved, but he's back on the halfway line.
And that's an area that I do think has caused Leeds some concern this year so far, is crosses and corners. They haven't defended them particularly well, and they've had difficulty clearing them, and it's cost them many goals.
Batty. And Dorigo just hammering it away, with no great aim in mind, but to resolve any immediate problems. Blackmore, Kanchelskis, it might just spin into his stride, it has done. And Fairclough played it against the player from the Ukraine. Chris Fairclough has played, of course, on the right-hand side before. At Anfield, he marked John Barnes man for man, and Andy, you've got another memory of that.
Oh yes, I did mention it when I was at Villa last year. And Howard Wilkinson's always very cute about this and likes to use tactics a lot. And Tony Daly was on song. And what they did is they moved Chris out of the centre of the defence and put him man for man on Tony Daly. And that's why I'm not surprised to see them change it again. I think if you remember at the Charity Shield when John Newsom played it right back and got very exposed by Mark Walters, didn't he? And he would have been very conscious that Ryan Giggs wasn't allowed that opportunity today as well. Yes,
there were one or two eyebrows raised in the Leeds dressing room a week ago yesterday when the Liverpool team sheet came in and Mark Walters was only a substitute. Personally, John Newsom was particularly relieved at that, although he came on later in the game and Newsom brought him down and Liverpool got a penalty. Dorigo with the free kick. Bruce ducking in behind, cleared by Kanchelskis. Dorigo, and that's over the top of Chapman and beyond the run of McAllister.
Always a difficult ball, that, I feel, when it comes out to someone in that kind of area and you play it straight back down a straight line. You're always better looking for a diagonal ball from those sort of areas.
Peter Schmeichel, the central figure in that fabulous fairy tale with Denmark, and off to play for Denmark against Germany again on Wednesday. It's in Copenhagen, something of a celebratory occasion to open the newly developed stadium. And all the memories of that wonderful June for Denmark will come flooding back, only adding to Schmeichel's stature, which rose last season when he learnt about the English game and the particular demands on goalkeepers, certainly in coming for crosses. Wallace, and he just got back, did Blackmore. I must say I looked closely at that as to what Blackmore played. Rod Wallace went down. The referee was obviously of the mind that some of the ball was touched as well. Great ball by Hughes to McClare.
Oh, that's unlucky. So unlucky. Almost a perfect counter-attack. Oops. Not quite the perfect throw, though.
Careless hands. Tony Dorigo. Actually, Leeds are a little worried about the width of the pitch. It's 4 yards wider here than Elland Road. It's a point that Howard Wilkinson was making to his players this morning. Wasn't quite wide enough, but here's Chapman, and it's...
Well, Gary McAllister won't be happy with him. I know as a striker you have to be greedy, but McAllister made a brilliant run on the right side of Lee Chapman and was open for a little slip here as he picks up the ball. Yeah, you see McAllister come into your picture. He's completely free, Martin. And if he just slips him in, Chapman, then who knows what might have happened.
Rodney Wallace was limping from the moment that Blackmore slid into him before the subsequent attack built up for Leeds. And Steve Bruce has got a cut with a scar of the battle already. Well, Wallace has gone off the pitch for further attention, which will be a worry for Graham Taylor.
Steve Bruce won't be worried about that. Another scar to add to a piece of character.
He's got stitches in the back of his head already from Wednesday night's game. McAllister's corner, Schmeichel struggling. and Chapman put all his effort into getting to the ball and couldn't keep it in.
Here we often talk about zonal defence, don't we? But I can't for the life of me understand why Manchester United are allowing Clayton Blackmore, one of the smaller members of the side, to mark Lee Chapman, one of the tallest members of the Leeds side. And they do give Steve Bruce the option to attack the ball, but it does leave Chapman fancying himself strongly at the back post, I'm sure.
Well, Schmeichel taking a goal kick today. He didn't take them on Wednesday night. With a leg problem. And there's Paul Ince and David Batty, two ultra-competitive young men, England teammates.
I love all that part of the game. I think it's brilliant.
Dorigo's free kick. Fairclough. Speed trying to get there. Schmeichel scoops it up. Newsom, comfortable in the centre of defence. Challenges Hughes again here. And fouls him.
There's Mark Hughes. That's him at his best. Getting it under pressure, being strong and holding off the central defenders. Best in the land at that.
There's McClare. That's a fine ball because Hughes got in front of Newsom that time. And tried to steer it goalwards.
Well, you know he's got no doubt. Slight suspicions of offside there, isn't it? And I think the linesman's flag, you can see, goes up. Paul Ince trying to get in there. But John Newsom would be happy to have seen that flag go up.
Rodney Wallace is not coming off yet as he's coming round. And yes, Gordon Strachan is being sent on. So, on a ground where he's remembered with a lot of affection, Strachan gets a return in circumstances he wouldn't have scripted. And Rodney Wallace, with a big week ahead of him, might find his plans scuppered by an early injury here at Old Trafford.
It's obviously a worse injury than we thought. But I mean, Leeds, I'll be quite happy with that. They're now playing a formation that took them to the league title last year, so there'll be no problems for them. Gary Speed, I would assume, will just go and play left side of midfield. McAllister and Batty in the middle, and Gordon Strachan right, to leave Chapman and Cantona up front.
Here's Speed. That was blocked by Bruce with his arms raised and ball to arm rather than an intentional handling, but it's a very risky manoeuvre in those circumstances.
You're not using that word intent as well, are you?
I think the referee was, though. Here's Speed. McAllister, Dorigo on the gallop outside him. He's made space McAllister to shoot. It's off a Manchester United foot for a corner.
You talk about ball to hand, but I'm sure Southampton got a penalty against Middlesbrough last weekend, didn't they? When almost exactly the same thing happened.
White waiting by the near post. He got to it. Oh, Fairclough, and that would have been an own goal off Blackmore.
They really have got to sort out their marking at these corners. They look really vulnerable. Every time Leeds have taken a corner, they've almost had a strike at goal. Look at that. They're getting players in between markers. And it can only be time before they pay for it if they don't sort it out.
Leeds have switched their approach this time. They've moved Fairclough in, and Cantona comes out for a short corner. The back heel might have been on for McAllister. Cantona thought better of it. Batty. McAllister is onside, and the ball's still in play. Speed. Going out to prevent an early cross. Batty. Speed again. And Manchester United have pushed out to the edge of the penalty area and defended in a line. And Schmeichel's throw finds four up. The player just had to check back, which took some of the speed out of the attempt to sweep upfield. Kanchelskis. He comes for Ince. Ince finding some progress there now. It's gone for Hughes. Can he tee it up for Kanchelskis? There was another hesitation for a possible handball against Dorigo, who now can't trust the ball to run out and has to boot it into the upper tier.
Oh, it's been a great 20 minutes, though. 1 minute, one team on the ascendancy. You think they might break it down. Next minute, the other team decides, we want a piece of this action, and they come flying forward.
This is Ferguson, kept at bay by Batty. Giggs can get it across though, no. Batty again, right in. Gordon Strachan's been playing in the Leeds reserves, which has been christened the Dream Team, with Steve Hodge and Scott Sellers and David Rocastle. They do the high fives every time a goal is scored, and there's plenty of them in the manner of Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. Speed. Again, defending well from midfield. Lukic has to kick it. The forward break that time was from Ferguson.
I would suggest in the manner you're speaking that the dream team, the reserve team, would be the low fives when you're talking about Hodge and Strachan and Scott Sellers, as opposed to the high fives, Mark.
Well said. There's a foul by Batty on Hughes. Free kick to Manchester United. Up goes Bruce and Pallister. Twin threats, twin peaks, Manchester United hope. And as the ball goes out of play, an opportunity to get the news of Rodney Wallace's injury from our man on the touchline, David Livingston.
News from the dressing room is that Rodney Wallace has a hamstring injury, which is obviously quite a bad one. Interesting to see what happens in the field, because before that, Gary McAllister was driving him forward on the right, and I wonder if he'll have the same instructions for his captain, Gordon Strachan.
Thank you, David. That's sad news for Graham Taylor. But most of all for Rod Wallace. The time is on his side. One assumes he will not be going to Santander.
Yeah, and Darren Ferguson showing there that he might not have his father's temper, but he's got his father's commitment to the game, that's for sure.
I think Darren is one of the quieter Fergusons.
Yeah, we do have another one in Sky, don't we?
Perhaps more on that later. Free kick halfway through the first half, 0-0. With Dorigo again. Leeds trying to reposition. Dorigo still with something to do. And now have a free kick. Oh, the foul by Giggs.
I think Howard Wilkinson will be delighted that the young man in a picture there has been as quiet as he's been. And if Tony Dorigo can keep doing that and causing him problems, he'll be even more delighted. He's been very quiet, Ryan Giggs, and that would please the Leeds manager.
Three of the Leeds back four have come up, and it comes off the pillar of the Manchester United back line, Steve Bruce. I would wonder here whether McAllister would be concentrating hard on keeping the ball away from Pallister and Bruce. Chapman has dragged Pallister towards the near post. Bruce more central, and it certainly gets away from both of those defenders. It's White eventually who hangs it up, and Schmeichel can't get there, but the whistle had gone before Chapman swiveled into the shot.
Well, once again, I mean, Eric Cantona has found space in the penalty spot from a corner that he really shouldn't be allowed to have. But you can see here as the ball comes, Chris White there just jumping into Peter Schmeichel. So no doubt the referee's perfectly right with that one. But again, the marking's not quite right.
But Andy, it's difficult because Leeds are the taller side man for man. When you think of White and Newsom and Fairclough, speed is super in the air. Cantona tall as well.
But you get men round them and make it difficult. I mean, Eric Cantona was volleying that last corner in. There was no excuse for not having anyone close to him there.
Blackmore. He was hoping that would drop over Newsom, and he anticipated it. Kanchelskis has gone inside him. Hughes and Ince, undetected. Paul Ince trying to get it across Lukic, one would suspect, put it straight at him.
Oh, brilliant play, and what great vision from Mark Hughes here. He just loses Gary McAllister for a minute, Paul Ince, and almost gives United the lead.
Without Brian Robson, one looks at Manchester United's middlemen in midfield to see whether they are going to provide the sort of goals that the captain delivered so regularly. Well, that was very promising from Ince, who hasn't contributed too many.
But he's shown me already this season that he is the one central midfield player who really does want to go in the opponent's box and try and create something. And that, a little warning to Gary McAllister there.
Batty's long throw. Chapman backing in. So many of these players with international commitments in midweek, and then both the clubs go into Europe. And the Champions Cup and the UEFA Cup. McClare has got the better of Dorigo. Hughes firing in towards the near post. And Kanchelskis has also made a similar run, and there was no one deeper. And the absence was conspicuous. Ince, Giggs, no suspicion of offside. He covered a lot of ground. Better spell this from Manchester United. White's header away. Kanchelskis. Ince. McAllister didn't get to him. Blackmore.
Well, we all know Clayton Blackmore's capable of scoring goals from that range. Very good, patient build-up. And good to see Ryan Giggs in that one. Just saying, I've not had much of the ball, so I'm coming across field and looking for it. That's good to see.
Perhaps it's appropriate to say that Manchester United haven't yet scored a goal at the Stretford end, with the lack of atmosphere there this season, similar to the problems that Arsenal have been having at their ex-North Bank end. And in truth, the United players, the Manchester United players that is, feel that they've let down the home supporters so far. They haven't really performed here, losing at home to Everton, drawing with Ipswich, and then with a late goal beating Crystal Palace. Well, it's a trial of strength, and Hughes has won that against Newsom. Here comes McClare. Oh, and he's pushed it too close to the goalkeeper. He still needed 2 attempts.
Well, not many people beat Mark Hughes in a trial of strength, as you mentioned there, and he showed all his huge physical appearance there.
Speed. Leeds just losing their way in this spell, really still haven't perhaps totally settled to life after the substitution. At the moment, Strachan is in the middle and Chapman is offside. All the aggression of Mark Hughes there for all to see.
There was only one winner for me in this. He's got great thighs on, but he picks out the pass here, and it's only the first touch that lets Brian McClare down and just gives John Lukic a piece of it.
Ferguson. Here's Owen. Hughes held. Giggs was certainly all right, and Kanchelskis! Well, Leeds aren't happy with the linesman or with themselves, and it was Mark Hughes in the middle that caught them out. Certainly not Giggs who set it up.
Mark Hughes is offside for me here, Martin, right in the middle of the picture. But the first real flash of Ryan Giggs, the most difficult cross, the outside of your foot, but he picks out Kanchelskis brilliantly. Watch this, doesn't kill it with his right, I'm good enough for my left foot. That's just brilliant football. But Leeds have got a case.
Yes, you go back to when the ball was played forward for Giggs to chase, and looking along the line, Hughes was standing in the centre trying to hold in a legitimate position. He wasn't really seeking to gain an advantage. The flag stayed down, and what happened after that was perfect for Manchester United. Giggs, who's been switched to the right, crossing, and Kanchelskis coming in from the left. And it wasn't an easy header, although it was very close to goal. Some pace on the ball, some height to climb. Back of the net, Manchester United 1, Leeds United 0.
Well, they may feel hard done by with Mark Hughes, and I think they've got a case, but as a total neutral, it's great that this game's got a goal. It's been threatening a goal from the first minute. That man there, Fergie, he'll be a lot more happier. Yeah, fold your arms, you can relax for a couple of minutes now. It doesn't often happen when you're a manager.
Brian Robson in the picture as well. Out of the picture as far as playing is concerned. A hamstring strain. Injuries for Paul Parker, Michael Phelan, Dion Dublin, of course. Lee Sharp is ill. But Manchester United, with 11 out there, who are doing well and are leading the champions, who caused them so much grief at the end of last season.
You see what a handful John Newsom's finding Mark Hughes. I just wonder if it would be worthwhile. I know they're playing right side and left side, Chris White and John Newsom, but I wonder if Chris White just might use the experience to say, hold on a minute, I'll pick up Mark Hughes, you just play off us and pick up the bits and pieces.
It's a free kick to Leeds. Well, we've talked about the height that Leeds have. It's an opportunity to make it count here. McAllister has the captain's armband and the seniority at set plays as well, even with Strachan in the game now. Well, Schmeichel started to come, and Ince did well against Newsom. Giggs, rather, after Ince had headed it to him. And there was a player on the left here, Kanchelskis, who was in a lot of space. But here's Strachan. Well, the strength of Leeds United this season has been their attacking adaptability, and they're now going to have to show it, having conceded a goal which had a contentious element in it, but nevertheless, from Manchester United's point of view, was marvellous to behold in its execution and in the context of this particular game against opposition of this stature. Cantona. Here's Dorigo, well found by Batty. Schmeichel against Cantona, memories of the European Championship, France against Denmark. Strachan. Well, a cameo of the match there in that particular incident. Every ball contested fiercely, but fairly for the most part. Hughes, even Kanchelskis can't collect that. An opportunity now from another angle to point to you the position of Mark Hughes in the goal.
Yeah, we see him there. Furthest man forward, there's the pass played. Clearly, I mean, not a doubt, clearly in an offside position. Still there, only now is he onside.
Cantona. Here's White. Now Dorigo. Bruce across. Batty made it his. The ball was off the ground. He made contact with it.
Now we've got a game on here, Martin. We really have got a game on.
Put into play between Darren Ferguson and Mark Hughes. Giggs, 5 forward for Manchester United. And a real League of Nations in that 5 as well. Speed. This is Dorigo. Cantona, too much on it, really. Well, David Livingston, down by the benches, has spotted the reaction to that goal. David.
An unusual one, Martin. Neil Webb is standing right next to us. When he saw the ball going, he turned and he said, I didn't know Kanchelskis would jump that high. Martin.
Andrei Kanchelskis, who's still deciding which of the reformed countries he's going to represent. A Ukrainian by birth, Lithuanian father. And he is qualified by some complexity for Russia. And he has been wondering whether they might let him play for England. More on that in a moment. Bowled out by Schmeichel. A block challenge by Speed on Giggs, the two young Welshmen.
Yeah, not any worse than any tackle that's going on so far in the game. A real competitive game. The referee, I'm pleased to say, being very sensible about all challenges at the moment.
Newsom. Strachan. Trying to influence proceedings. Dorigo. Space infield. Speed actually was dragging McClare wide. And now confronts him. Strachan. Just ahead of McAllister. Broken up by Bruce. And that's a poor one from the Manchester United captain. Rather across the field and forward. And Blackmore happy to hoist it towards the corner so that they can regroup. Newsom can head it back. Lukic can pick it up.
Even had me going here for a minute.
I was just going to say about Kanchelskis, rather in the manner of the South African cricketers being able to play for England in the time of expulsion, wondering whether the end of the CIS might mean that, you know, England would be interested in one of their players. Graham Taylor might check the FIFA regulations, but I think it's a very long shot.
Well, no matter what happens, I'm sure the Republic of Ireland will be in there before anyone, if that's the case, Martin.
Cantona. That's a bit of a mess for Manchester United defensively, just for a moment. And mentioning the Republic of Ireland, here goes Owen.
Look at that for recovery pace.
Turbocharged, Tony Dorigo. Ince. It's no tense, cautious affair, this. 8 minutes to go to half-time. Manchester United lead Leeds United by an Andrei Kanchelskis goal just before the half hour. Kanchelskis, who's a very affable and amiable young man, trying to make light of the language. Not finding it easy, but always prepared to have a chat. Blackmore. White there before Giggs. Here's Cantona. Chapman. A lot of red shirts around those two. And it's Ince on top again.
He's had a brilliant start to the game, Paul Ince, honestly, Martin. He's been back tackling his own in his own box, and then he's been prepared to get forward. He's almost as if he's saying, oh, Brian Robson's not here, he's not here to direct us, so I'm going to take it upon myself, and he's doing it brilliantly at the moment.
Dorigo. Pushed by Ferguson on Batty. Now Speed. Strachan holding near the touchline on this near side. Ahead of Fairclough now, who looks for the head of Chapman. Oh, lovely work by Darren Ferguson, an indication of how much he's attuning his play to this level of the game. Diggs. He's having a look to see where the goal is, but Newsom made sure he didn't find it. Bruce on Chapman again. The referee indicating he gave Leeds an advantage because it was a foul on Lee Chapman. Offside this time, Kanchelskis.
And that was close. Sometimes when you've got pace and you're as quick as Andrei Kanchelskis, you can get caught. I think the linesman is right, but it's very, very close.
Terry Atkinson on the far side. The linesman on this near side is Uriah Rennie, who made that excellent decision at Anfield a couple of weeks ago to allow Ian Wright to go on from a legitimate position to score the second goal for Arsenal at the expense of Graham Souness's side. Didn't run out of play. Length of the grass again, maybe.
More the captain's desire to keep it in play and try and get Leeds back into this game.
Batty. Now Strachan. Fairclough moving forward down the right-hand side. Gets it now. Chapman. Can't really build from him so far. Brian McClare, who's put the need of the team before his own aims so often, and is usually one of the first names on the team sheet. This is his 6th season with Manchester United, and today he's playing his 200th league game for them.
So reliable, isn't he, as well, Martin? I bet in those 6 years he's hardly missed a game for Manchester United.
3, in fact.
I knew it wouldn't be
league.
many. I knew it wouldn't be many.
Oh, and the sun distracting Pallister then, as well as Cantona's jump. It was a dismal, damp morning, but it's turned out to be a perfect afternoon for playing. And certainly for watching. Mark Hughes wonders what might have been then. Speed for Strachan. Oh, and it's come for him, and it's the foot of Schmeichel, the studs on the right boot, to stop what would have been a sensational return for Gordon Strachan. It looked as though he was going to turn back the clock then. Speed. Chapman torpedoing in, but it was an opportunity for Strachan.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity as well. He does everything right. He makes a great run infield to get inside Clayton Blackmore, but then watch the keeper. He stands up an awful long time, and that's what makes it difficult. That's a great save.
Hughes. Manchester United, remember, had the meanest defence in the entire 4 divisions last season, and 1 goal was often enough for them. Whether it will turn out today depends on whether Strachan might be able to inspire a team that he's contributed so much to since he left Old Trafford to link up with Howard Wilkinson. And Kanchelskis. Oh, that's a foul, and Fairclough is going to be booked for it. Really, Andrei Kanchelskis sped past him then, and Fairclough was committed, and he was late.
Yeah, I think his intent is to go for the ball. I think we should say that, but the referee's got no option in an area like that when you're attacking the box but to pull out the yellow card.
Pallister is waiting by the near post. Blackmore over the ball. And Bruce, who launches himself so often, and without any thought of damaging himself. Not any worry about what he might do to anything except the back of the net of the opposition.
Testing time this, couple of minutes till half-time. It's important for Leeds that they don't concede another.
Dennis Irwin is much admired throughout the game for the way he strikes a dead ball. Power. Sweep on it as well. Lukic didn't get there, it must be a goal. Bruce says that he got the touch. McClare was right in there as well. Goalkeeping error, 2-0.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and what a time to concede a second goal. Just when you look for a minute, you might get back into it, this happens. But it's a great delivery of the corner. John Lukic makes nothing of it. And who reacts quickest? Steve Bruce.
Well, we talked about the skill at the set plays of Irwin, but John Lukic won't be happy at looking at that one again.
Well, I've said that they've looked to me as if they would concede goals from crosses and corners, and it must be something that's worrying Howard Wilkinson. And they go and do it again today at a most crucial time in the game. Going in 1-0 down, you would think they really do fancy the chances. There's been enough to suggest that they shouldn't get disappointed in this first half. But 2-0 at Old Trafford, that's a different matter.
And 2 at the Stretford end. McClare trying to make it 3, and unknown players in the Brian McClare position, as Steve Bruce went for the ball, he would have said that's my goal. But McClare kept his arm down, let Bruce take the congratulations, and we must assume from that it was Bruce's touch that completed the formalities, and formality it was once Lukic was stranded.
Well, he'd be getting worried, Steve Bruce. What did he get last year? About 20 goals or something, Martin?
That was 19 the year before last.
19, I mean, he'd be worried now. He's on 7-8 games into the season without a goal.
Well, in the 7 games counting the Charity Shield Leeds have played before today, there have been 30 goals, and Leeds have conceded 13 of those, to suggest that all hasn't been right defensively, and that's the way it's been here. Hughes, stoppage time at the end of the first half. A first half that's come to a most unsatisfactory end for Leeds. For 25 minutes, it was pretty even. It's not half-time, in fact.
Is that good, Martin? You're losing track.
Let's keep going. I certainly don't want the half to end. But Leeds began the game more brightly of the two teams. But that brightness has evaporated. The sun is shining on the other United, the United who live here. The team in red. Hughes. Oh, Ince. Here's McClare. And Lukic.
Well, Mark Hughes is having an absolute stormer. Watch this for vision. Gets too much space, picks out Pollins, misjudges the header, and Brian McClare could really have tied up for them there.
For Manchester United, looking to make full use of these extra seconds. Two goals for the home supporters to reflect on during the half-time break. The first came from Andrei Kanchelskis, and then Steve Bruce, a desperate moment for Leeds. 2 goals which will provide much to talk about. John Lukic will take the responsibility for the second. An offside question about the first, and after the break, the thoughts on those goals from our guest Chris Waddle at half-time at Old Trafford.
Back 2-0 Manchester United. What was the Stretford end? It's at the scoreboard end now, celebrating during half-time with an impromptu performance. That's impressive, isn't it? And a free view. And why not two? Those fellas doing a lot of the important work, putting the Stretford end back together here. It's maybe the sun's in the far corner there. Let's go back to our commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Manchester United looking for a fourth successive shutout, which would guarantee a fourth successive win. But I'm sure they won't be playing for that, and given the way that Leeds have opened up a good number of defences in the Premier League already this season, they will be hoping to lift themselves from the disappointing nature of both goals that they conceded in the last 17 minutes of the first half. Ferguson trying to release Kanchelskis. Lukic kicks it away very confidently. And it was anticipated by Cantona. Fairclough. Batty.
I think if I'd been Howard Wilkinson at half-time, Martin, I certainly would have been saying to my players that, you know, don't get too down, don't be too despondent. You certainly created enough in the first half to suggest that with a little bit of luck on our part, we can get back into this game quite easily.
And I thought Chris Waddle made a good point at half-time. They are the champions, and that certainly has given them a right to hold their heads high. Chapman. Manchester United quickly got a huddle of players around Strachan, and an advantage played after the foul by White. McClare. Hughes is missing in the middle. He's the player down hurt. Giggs. And Leeds keeping the ball in play, which they're quite entitled to do, really, in these circumstances. You can hear what the majority of the fans here think about that. And even Manchester United still looking to push on through Ince. Mark Hughes is back on his feet, but still very restricted in his mobility. In fact, he's hardly moved at all.
I'm just worrying if the referee will have a word with Chris White as well, because it was a very, very late tackle that he caught Mark Hughes with. When here we see it there, there's Hughes playing the ball, and he catches him very high and very late, but he chooses not to speak to them.
Play restarting with the Leeds free kick, which White and Newsom have stayed back for, and Fairclough is the player furthest from us, gets it into an area that almost troubled Pallister. Newsom, as he was pushed by Hughes, he might have been hell-bent on throwing his weight around. It can't have been a personal revenge mission, because it wasn't the player who fouled him.
But Leeds have worked the free kicks quite well. I mean that, but they've looked at Pallister and Bruce and said they're the two best headers, and they've tried to aim the free kicks away from their area, which makes good sense. Now they've done it again, aiming it away from the two big centre-backs.
Speed, but it came to where Bruce could take charge. Is that handball? It is, by Hughes. For the majority of their matches this season, John Newsom has been kept back at set pieces because of his speed, but he's been released now in these circumstances. He's up on the edge of the penalty area with White. Newsom scored a couple of goals in the Championship run-in. They might aim it his way. Brian McClare is marking him. Blackmore is picking up Cantona. It goes to Cantona. Batty. Speed. Came to Batty on the left and Speed on the right. Neither their preferred side. Leeds United needing to be very positive and progressive in the early minutes of the second half. Try and establish some sort of route for recovery here.
Well, it's not the time to be reckless, you know, they'll keep pegging away. They won't be throwing men forward stupidly and risk losing another one this early in the game. They know, you know, 10, 15 minutes to go, if they were to peg one back, even then, there's still a chance of retrieving something from this game.
See Bruce having confidence in the kicking power of Schmeichel, injury or not. Hughes, it's under him. Easily cut out by Strachan. He wants to play it to feet and does to Fairclough. Cantona had rather turned his back. McAllister. Ferguson taking him this time. It's an early cross from Fairclough and not a bad one. Cantona, it's a good one. And the header offering some encouragement for Leeds.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed he hasn't scored. It's a great ball in, and he gets the time and space. There he goes. Goalkeeper's out. Really should hit the target from there.
Well, it's a check on the cheekbone of Eric Cantona.
Well, there's no doubt Steve Bruce, I think it was, absolutely launches himself at Eric Cantona just as he's making contact with it.
Cantona got the ball, and Bruce headed the Frenchman. Bruce came off the worse.
You know, if he hits the target there, he scores, you know, Martin. He really does. But that's what they need, Leeds. They need a flash from the man of the moment, Eric Cantona, really, or someone else to bring them back into the game.
Giggs, still Dorigo's immediate opponent. Hughes. On the cloud. Really deceived Batty. Ferguson will be delighting the family again. Can't be easy being the manager's son, but he doesn't live at home now, and I think that makes the relationship more professional when they get to work. Kanchelskis, he's away, and Newsom tackled that splendidly. He got to the ball when all seemed lost.
Great recovery tackle from John Newsom. Again, they're asking, they're looking round, is there an offside here? Tony Dorigo's the one, crucial. But what he wants is, he wants to keep it on his right foot, Andrea Kanchelskis, and that gives John Newsom the chance to launch a tackle.
He did that a couple of times last season when he was playing in the centre of defence at the expense of Ian Rush, I remember, at Anfield. And was it Kevin Gallagher against Coventry in a crucial match right at the end? Here's Giggs. Leeds pushing out. Bruce. He's offside.
Great arrogance, wasn't it, from the young kid, though? Just flicks it up, 1-2, over it goes. Just watch this, 1-2. And that's a very close decision, isn't it? It's a late flag, look how late it goes up.
The rare talent of Ryan Giggs. Cantona. One more goal will really have a major influence if it comes to Manchester United. A third goal, they would feel, would mean 3 points in the bank. But if Leeds could get it back to 2-1, and certainly Newsom not that position being a possibility with that great recovery, Leeds might find that Manchester United's nerves would show, but none showing at the moment. Batty, and it ends in smiles. The referee here has a reputation of doing most things by the book.
And if you watch it here, he's quite right. All they do is you just get their legs tangled up. Look at that. And they're both so determined to get the ball. It's great stuff.
And they know they're on the same plane at, what, 10:30 tomorrow morning from Luton Airport. Good spirit. There's been plenty of that in the game. Well, it's Owen's skill at the set play again. White got to it, dipped beyond Bruce that time. Ince. Here's McClare. It's rather limp in the end. Leeds needing Lee Chapman helping out on the edge of the area. Batty in there. I don't think Giggs quite fancied that one, and I don't blame him. Pallister. Giggs now in more comfortable territory. Ferguson trying to get up on White on his blind side. And they'll chase on here, knowing that Lukic has just got to knock it away as best he can. Offside.
Yeah, not Hughes though. I think it's Darren Ferguson coming back.
Well, this must be a big game because Darren Ferguson's mum, Kathy, the wife of Alex, doesn't often come to the games, but she's here today. She usually restricts her appearance to cup finals. And this comes in the context of a league match somewhere up around that. And she'll be enjoying what she's seeing so far. Fairclough's cross. Cantona! Fantastic.
Now that's brilliant skill and ability, isn't it? I don't suppose there's anyone else in the pitch capable of this. And I don't mean that any disrespect to any other players, but connects quite beautifully. One of the most difficult skills in the world, that. Makes it look so easy.
It's not the first time he's done it this season. He nearly scored against Spurs. And he beat the goalkeeper, but he was just off target. A little nudge on Strachan. Quick free kick taken by Strachan. Chapman's clear because of that. Cantona trying to get free, and he couldn't. And there was no one else arriving in the middle. Chapman complaining about that. Fairclough again, a higher one this time. This is Batty. Now speed. A lot of players forward for Leeds. Speed can throw the ball a fair distance, but Batty usually has the responsibilities. Out very dominantly by Pallister. Newsom. McClare well aware of the position of Giggs, making sure Manchester United kept the ball. They didn't keep it for long. McAllister. Still was alongside Chapman again, but it's a measure of the mood of Manchester United, as we've just seen from Irwin, to play their way out of a tight corner. Giggs, oh, that was a shame.
He just takes his eye off it. But good football. Leeds is one of the best spells of the game, this is, and they're asking some questions now.
They've got another free kick. Again, they're leaving it one-on-one on the halfway line. White on Hughes. Tony Dorigo to take the throw. Speed. Here's Giggs, plenty to his left, including Ferguson, and further forward Kanchelskis. Onside. Hughes in the middle, Giggs is there as well, and Kanchelskis with a cross that isn't really directed at either of them. Speed stands firm and gets the throw because of that.
You can see the problem Manchester and Leeds United have when they want to get back in the game and they risk throwing men forward. When you look at the pace of Giggs and Kanchelskis, it really can harm you in an instant.
There's been a lot of talk here that this is not a grudge game. There's no revenge as such. but I think it's the pride in the performance says how much it means to Manchester United, but it's a performance that's not completed yet. And Leeds still with time to turn it away from the home team. Fairclough. Cantona. Owen just able to reach it, and then a clumsy challenge by Gary Speed on Paul Ince.
I don't think there's any doubt the referee's quite right there. You see Gary Speed's left knee right into the ribs of Paul Ince.
These players not trying just to prove that they're capable of winning a championship, but trying to perhaps bury even a ghost of the present. I look back at last season, the Old Trafford team lost only 2 of 27 games Brian Robson played in, won only 5 of 15 without him. And around the game you hear people say, well, they're not the same side when Robson's out. Well, they're doing pretty well without him today. And that's no disrespect to the absent captain. His number 7 shirt being worn by Kanchelskis, who concedes a free kick. Again, quick thinking by Strachan. It's the second time that's happened in a couple of minutes, and he's caught his old club flat-footed.
The one thing you learn, if you know Gordon Strachan, is you don't switch off, not for a second. The little man's football brain is always ticking over. He's caught them twice in 5 minutes.
Yes, the legs might not be quite so quick, but the brain is just as sharp.
Oh, it's quicker than ever. It really is. But they're certainly playing well this half, Leeds United. They've pegged Manchester United back, certainly for the first 15 minutes. Manchester United haven't really been an attacking force, but they'll be quite happy not to throw too many men forward, but to protect what they have now. Say to Leeds, no, it's up to you if you want to try and break us down. We'll rely on Hughes and Giggs and Kanchelskis to get us something on the break.
Well, if you're sitting too far away from your television to see our clock, I can tell you we've just passed the hour, and it's still Manchester United 2, Leeds United 0. A real strike by Schmeichel so far that the linesman has adjudged Hughes offside as he came literally from a bit deeper to meet the ball. Fairclough. Strachan giving Bruce a run for his money, and if Steve Bruce thought he was going to have an easy ride, then he was disappointed. Well, again, that's delightful to see, because this is an important game. The same 3 points is the prize, of course, nothing more, but it is a match-up of immense significance, but it's smiles as well as the fierceness of the battle as well.
Ah, it's nice to see, isn't it? That great little pace from Gordon Strachan there.
He's had an extra helping of pasta. Fatty. Here's Dorigo. Chapman, unusually able to face the goal, and keeping it going for Leeds. All hoping to reach Dorigo's cross, and they'll stay in the centre, joined by Speed to make it 5 now. The supply from Strachan, but a poor one by his standards. McClare. Space in midfield for Manchester United. Leeds had committed numbers forward. Ferguson. Giggs. Oh, and straight from the Mark Hughes catalogue.
But brilliant play from Manchester United. All the whole length of the park, and Giggs picks out a brilliant pass here. And oh, so close to a Hughes special, wasn't it?
But a lot of impressive work was involved before Hughes had the chance to let fly with the volley. But Leeds, the longer it goes on, have to take more and more risks. Ince, again, the advantage played. Oh, well, Ince is furious with Uriah Rennie on the far side.
He'd be a linesman, I tell you, Martin. The players are as quick as they are these days. It really is difficult in that situation. Leeds are holding their defensive line, and Giggs makes the run from a diagonal sort of run, and it's so difficult if you're wide to judge it.
There's been a yellow card for John Newsom for the foul on Hughes. Newsom coming through the back, and as you saw, he got the yellow card.
Sense of car keys will be found in case stand. I'd like to contact your nearest police officer. I'll give you some more information. Also, a set of keys lost in case stand. If you find this set on the floor, please hand them in to a police.
But I must say, compliments to the referee, who is a renowned disciplinarian, but in this match he's allowed the football to flow, and that was a case in point. He handed out the punishment at the next natural stoppage, as Manchester United looked to put a dagger into the heart of Leeds United after the foul. Chapman, Cantona clips it back, linesman's flag is up, and Schmeichel snares it in any case. Sticky start to the season for Manchester United, defeats at Bramall Lane, and here against Everton, the draw with Ipswich, a match they would have expected to win perhaps. Conceding goals uncharacteristically for them at set plays, a couple of long throws got the better of them, but they're more in tune at the moment. Lukic will take the extra touch. Sometimes wonder if the home supporters kept quiet when a visiting team rolled the ball back to the goalkeeper, whether in fact the goalkeeper might lose concentration and pick it up and give away the free kick by going ooh every time. The goalkeeper's alerted to the menace of the change in the law.
That's assuming that all the supporters are not as confused as you and I are at times.
Well, you and I may not be confused, but I think we still disagree as to the merits of the change. But I await with interest the winter pitches. Leeds United await the arrival of Steve Hodge. Space for Leeds here. And he saw Schmeichel off his line. I'm not sure of the attempted curl ball. Well, it's the substitution for Leeds, their second, and John Newsom's 22nd birthday includes a booking and an early end to his participation in the game. Steve Hodge, a midfield man with a good track record for providing goals. That's just what Leeds need. Hughes has come down for him. He took a while to locate it, but once he did, it sped past Lukic, bottom of the post, the nearest of misses.
Well, they almost caught them cold. Well, they're trying to arrange the defence in John Newsom's absence. He's looking for it, isn't he? Mark Hughes doesn't need to take it in any nearer than that. He immediately drills it, and that could have just been game-setting match.
Oh, it was well wide of Lukic's dive and barreled into the post and away for the goal kick.
What they were trying to do was get Gary Speed back into the centre of the defence.
Well, they've closed the door and that particular horse hasn't bolted. opportunity to admire the versatility of Gary's speed. Last weekend, he finished the game against Liverpool at right back. Here he is in the centre of defence. Again, a quick free kick from Strachan. Cantona, is it going to be third time productive for Leeds from Strachan's quick thinking? They've got a corner.
Ah, but that's brilliant, isn't it? Pollen's basically the only one who's alive to it. If Gordon Strachan's on the ball, you never turn your back on it.
20 minutes to go, he's on the ball again. Oh, White's free. Oh, Fairclough might have been as well. Steered away by Bruce. 2 against 2. Giggs and Kanchelskis, Batty and Dorigo. Reinforcements coming back, but will they get there in time? They do, in the shape of Strachan. That's marvellous from him. But Kanchelskis is still going. Not exactly in the right direction, but he's got a free kick.
Well, if anyone doubts the fitness of Gordon Strachan at 35 years of age, just remember, he took the corner, and who was the man back helping his defence out? Gordon Strachan. A great example to all kids watching, that was.
Blackmore's free kick. And Lukic claiming it off the head of Bruce. Strachan offside. Hodge that time.
Makes sense to me to bring on Steve Hodge. He is a player who loves to get forward. He's got goals in his locker. I know him well for a spell at Aston Villa together, and he loves to score goals. He's got a great desire to drive into the opponent's penalty area looking for goal chances.
Still got strong affections for Nottingham Forest, as has Neil Webb. Both of them talking about Forest's current problems earlier today. Owen recognising that the game isn't over yet. 18 minutes to go. He's looking to change its complexion. But we can't dispute the right for Manchester United to be in front. A lead that might be extended now. This is Giggs. Hughes at the far post. Oh, White played it. And speed adjusted very well. And Strachan there to bring some order to it. Now Fairclough. Cantona. Here's Giggs and Dorigo.
I tell you, that's a pair I wouldn't like to race against, that's for sure.
Owen's throw. Speed, realising where he's supposed to be playing and trying to use the ball rather than run with it. He didn't use it very well, in truth. There's a good percentage for Leeds getting the ball to Strachan. He's ordering the others into position. It's Hughes, who's felt one or two in this game and didn't fancy another one, and I don't blame him for that. It was Gary's speed. He was favourite to get to the ball, but Hughes beat him to it.
I'm sure he finds that every game, Mark Hughes. He's so strong and wants to hold on to it. at times so long that he does entice players to come and tackle him.
Yes, you need padding, you would think, all the way around the back of the leg, the calf, as well as the shin. He's still trying to get free at this free kick. Making a run across the edge of the area, enabling Bruce to find him, and turning brilliantly, well held by Lukic.
Great play again, isn't it? But Steve Bruce deserves a big pat in the back. He knows what Mark Hughes wants. He knows where he wants it. In at his feet at the edge of the box.
Pallister. Well, that's a lot of goalkeepers, isn't it? Lukic made a great save then, but his error still haunting Leeds. Ince, although it may not turn out to be a decisive goal. It could be that the first that went past him from Kanchelskis. It's 2-0. There's less than 15 minutes to go. Manchester United pulling Hughes back as well, just leaving Giggs forward. Off the head of Ferguson. Speed. That's the area that Steve Bruce and Pallister would expect to be in charge of. That's where Leeds have got to try and deceive them, playing to different parts of the penalty area.
I think that's right. I mean, if they get the ball and they continue just to knock it into the middle area, aerially, then you do expect Gary Pallister and Steve Bruce to win the fair share of those tackles.
Bruce not meeting the head that time, but he got to the ball and he got Hodge as well. That will be a throw to Leeds, but only after Hodge has been attended to. Andy, I've been talking about the extra width here compared to Ellen Road, where Leeds are used to be playing, and certainly Manchester United have picked a team to make good use of wide positions.
I think when you have two wide men of the quality they have here in Andre Kanchelskis and Ryan Giggs, it would be folly of Alex Ferguson not to try and use it, not to try and expose other teams. I mean, it's one of the things, if you're a manager, you try and get your teams to use the width of the pitch. The amount of managers that talk about that, trying to get it's another thing.
A wide position is McAllister. Fairclough really fought for that towards the near post. Kanchelskis looking for the open spaces. It's not too open there because Strachan knew where he wanted to run and took a shorter route.
Yeah, Fairclough in there, you're right, man, but who was it challenging, throwing his body there? Paul Ince again. He's had a great game today.
Well, Leeds looking to pick up some scraps here if they can, by sheer force of endeavour. And again, excellent work by Ince. He's got a free kick for his side. He's being applauded by Bruce. And Paul Ince had problems with his temperament perhaps earlier in his career, but this is a most mature performance.
Oh, definitely. It looks as if he's trying to make up for lost time for me. There were a lot of question marks about his move to Old Trafford. Problems with injuries. He looks back to the Paul Ince we all know he was, and he's certainly back there now. He's had a great game.
And it's a complicated transfer deal from West Ham. A low down payment and £5,000 per game. Well, he's been worth the £5 today.
And more. Hope you weren't speaking too soon there.
Here's Chapman. Hodge, and Owen got a touch and a second one. And it was Ince who lost the ball in the middle of the field. He's entitled to one mistake.
Oh, he is.
Here's Speed.
But he was back in the box defending after it.
You bet. Pallister there. Strachan. Pressed by Ferguson, who's given away a free kick. Is this an opportunity as the climb steepens for Leeds to make some progress up the mountain? And our aerial position shows the intensity of the presence of the players around the area. Manchester United have pulled everyone back. Only John Lukic in the Leeds half. Dorigo is there. McAllister having a look if he goes the other way. But it is Dorigo, and it was not set up properly for him.
No, you're right, that's one that failed. Gary Speed's intention, or his role in that, is to stop the ball dead. But he didn't manage to do that, and really Tony Dorigo had no chance of anything else but hitting the wall.
We're into the final 10 minutes. Manchester United 2, Leeds United 0. Fairclough's flick, Hodge. Another towering leap by Pallister. The player wondering, didn't look, but wondering whether Hughes might be in pursuit of a ball played over the top. Oh, speed! And Hughes can really cash in for Manchester United, but Lukic stuck out a leg. Well, there have been times in the second half when the lingering doubts were on the point of being eliminated for the home team. Never more so than then. Cantona. But Gary Speed got the ball stuck under his feet.
Well, this would have tied up, wouldn't he? He's looking for a pass, he just loses his footing, and Hughes is away. He really could have had a hat-trick quite easily. Second half, Mark Hughes. I honestly expected him to score here, but give John Lukic credit. Stood up long enough to make it difficult and got his feet in the way.
A couple of years ago, Speed would have brought him down, been accepted a yellow card. That was the last change of legislation before the back pass, and it has to be a good one again because it's created a proper outcome to that incident. Speed couldn't be cynical, otherwise he'd have been sent off. Well, it's getting to Leeds now. A misplaced ball by White. Hughes, McClare trying with the outside of the right foot. Well, he's missed the family wedding up in Glasgow, but he's been on the right side of things here.
Oh, he won't mind that, will he? You can see what he's trying to do as Mark Hughes rolls it to him. He wants to hit it with the outside of his right foot and bend it. He starts it too wide, and he's certainly not going to come back from there.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Well, the indication of shots there showing the balance of power that's also reflected on the scoreline. Clayton Blackmore, incidentally, is categorised by UEFA now as a homegrown player for Manchester United, although he is a Welsh international. The regulations get even more complex, and Alec Ferguson has got a real dilemma to try and get enough Englishmen ready to take on the Torpedo Moscow in 10 days' time. Chelskis wants a pitch that's even wider than this one. And a chance to have a word from our touchline reporter. I apologise, David, the game has been so eventful we haven't been able to get to you, but your thoughts now.
Martin, Mark Hughes threw in the goalkeeper there. The instructions from the dugout were the next time tell him to take it round the goalkeeper. So further to what Andy was saying, we can perhaps expect that next time.
Well, there's 7 minutes or so for our next time to happen. But they're beginning to sing the anthems of victory here. The 32,000 or so who got in to follow Manchester United. Has depleted capacity this season as a splendid stadium is rebuilt. A more innocent collision there, but nonetheless a damaging one. White and Hughes.
Takes a bad knock, doesn't he? It's great to see Steve Bruce there. He was immediately concerned and rushed over, just to roll him over, just in case, as that old habit, sometimes the tongue goes down the throat and gets trapped.
Yes, that actually happened to Bruce himself, which is why he's particularly concerned. It's I think, a shorthand phrase for what happens medically, but it causes great consternation. But Manchester United have a fully qualified physiotherapist in Jim McGregor.
Yeah, Jim will just be saying, don't worry, Hughes, only 5 minutes to go, and that's it. And then you can have a nice long soak and a nice warm bath.
Until you go off to play for Wales. And my word, the demands on the top players are considerable, even at this early stage in the season. When you think that this is the 7th game for these clubs, that's a 6th of the league programme in the first 3 weeks of the season. So you could actually, at this rate, play the whole season in 18 weeks. No wonder physiologists are called in, psychologists, to deal with the problems of the players. But when you win a match of this magnitude, you don't feel the fatigue, and you want the next run to come round as quickly as possible. The point we've made before, matches, it seems, looking at them, are more demanding because of the back pass rule. McAllister goes for goal. Gets a corner by the fingertips of Schmeichel.
Well, just to let us know that they're still in this game, and if Manchester United just take their eye off it or lose their concentration, Leeds will be there to snap it up.
They don't just want the win, they want the clean sheet as well. Means a great deal here. That was the bastion, really, of their championship challenge. It was only when they stopped scoring that they lost their way, and that faltering run in April. And Leeds seemed to be out of it. And yet it was they who collected the championship trophy. Speed. Batty, McAllister can turn, struck an outside him, flicked off Ince. Difficult for Bruce to deal with, but he got to it. And perhaps a bit of good fortune in the direction. It went straight to Kanchelskis. Blackmore, who doesn't get a great deal of the limelight, but always does the job wherever he's asked to play. Giggs, who is an attractor of attention. Ferguson, who's shown why he's fitted in and why perhaps Neil Webb can't get a place. And at the moment, he's like a punch bag, Mark Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Chris White, look, he's protecting the ball there, isn't he? Chris White's got no chance of getting it. A little shake of the head. It'll be worth it in 3 minutes, Mark.
And Dorigo saying, you're not going to get past me like that. There was a little bit of verbal going on. You've got to do better than that, I think was the theme of it. But Giggs has got the answer. He could point to the scoreline. Kanchelskis, who was found by Ryan Giggs for the first goal that really fired up Manchester United, and it's only been an occasional splutter since then. Ince with something in reserve to keep it in. Giggs in the middle. Now McClare. They're looking for the third, and McClare can't make it happen.
But it's great to see, isn't it? Even at this late stage in the game, Paul Ince is still keen and determined to drive forward, looking for another goal.
Cantona. Schmeichel making sure it doesn't sneak in. Andy, what do you make of Leeds, the champions? Their results, not just today, but over the last few matches, haven't been of championship-winning standard.
I think the defence hasn't been as tight as it was last year. Obviously, the loss of Rodney Wallace upset the rhythm a little bit today. And I don't think it helped him any having to make a change so early on in a game that means as much as this one does. There's been a lot of good things in their game. They've caused Manchester United a lot of problems and could quite easily have gone ahead before Manchester United scored. And that might well have made a difference to the whole game. But once United got in front, I always felt that they were going to stay there. I really did, Martin, and that's the way it's been. United have grown and grown this season and really do look like they've got their act together now.
Well, Leeds, when they go home, will still be champions, and they will remember that. The matches against Manchester United last season, both drawn, didn't really count in the shakedown at the end, and maybe this won't count in the final analysis. But it's a fine day for Manchester United, make no mistake of that. And the fans are revelling in it, even though their team are defending in stoppage time here. Alistair above his opposite number, White. Another corner, Strachan again. Chapman calling for a deeper one. But once more, he pops up with the ball. Paulins. Giggs. Here's the scene set here for a final flourish. It might well be. Kanchelskis still looking hungry. Paul McLeod just came behind him.
It's unlucky, isn't it, Brian McClare? They do everything right here. Look, he's trying to time his run, McClare, into the box, pulls to the back stick, and it's only a yard behind him.
Leeds refusing to accept the inevitable in stoppage time. Dorigo, McAllister, Chapman, Hodgin hunting. Well, the bright side of life has become the anthem here. And it's very bright this particular Sunday evening. Fairclough winding himself up for an early cross. Hodge, Cantona. McAllister had to put the brakes on when he hoped it might come into his line. McClare can pick their passes now. And keep the ball and run the clock down, if that's what they choose to do. McAllister still setting the example for Leeds. The sound of the crowd tells the story here. Jubilation at Old Trafford. No one wanting to leave before the end. They want to pay their respects at the final whistle. Howard Wilkinson accepting defeat. And one wonders now, well, he's got an injury to deal with, of course, in Wallace, whether the team, which has been unchanged, will be altered next weekend when they're in action on Super Sunday again, at home to Aston Villa. Batty. Ferguson. Not conceding any ground unnecessarily. And if last season belonged to Leeds, today has belonged to Manchester United. The goals, Steve Bruce got the second. Andrei Kanchelskis the first, defeating the defending champions, a fourth successive win for Alex Ferguson's men, a fourth consecutive clean sheet as well, and Leeds have now gathered only 5 points from their last 5 games. The message from the Manchester United dressing room was that revenge was not on the agenda today, but there's undoubtedly a large share of satisfaction here. Leeds' second league defeat has come 5 months earlier than the equivalent setback in the championship year. Of course, it's how it all stacks up in May that matters. No one knows that better than the Old Trafford fans.
and that gave us a base to build on in the second half. I thought we controlled the game very well, and the lads at the back played very well and gave us the opportunities to break on them in the second half.
You had a couple of opportunities yourself in the second half. Andy Gray was commenting that you might have, under normal form, have done better. But how did you feel when you went through on the goal?
Well, the one that's showing now, I just robbed Gary's speed and I went on, and I just carried it forward. And I sent him the wrong way, and I think he stuck out a big toe and hit him on a big toe, and unfortunately that's the way it goes.
The manager, Alex Ferguson, was saying after that you should have taken it round the goalkeeper.
Yeah, quite possibly, but you're not to know in them situations how close they are at the back. And that one just hit the bottom of the post, so that's fair and lucky, I would think.
You couldn't have taken it around the goalkeeper then. Steve, you were in the unusual position of doing some goal scoring. Was it clearly your goal, do you think?
Yeah, well, I swung the left peg at it and it rocketed into the net as far as I was concerned. I think it was no, I think it hit somebody and I just took out a leg, and if we see now, I think it hits one of their players on the back, if I remember. I remember going in for it and turning around, the ball was there. Yeah, it hits Chris Fairclough, look, and yeah, I just stuck out with left foot.
Do you think that proves conclusively that it was yours?
I think so.
You happy to say that, Mark? I know it was Brian McClare that was there, but are you happy to give the old defenders a chance now and again?
Oh yeah, I've pinched a few goals off Steve in the past, so he's due one.
Steve, just one point about the future then, in this current difficulty. How about the team as it stands and the kids that are coming through? Can they cope in the current situation and keep Man United up in the top of the league, the top half of the league where they are now?
Well, I mean, we've got some talented youngsters here. I mean, when you look at the strength and depth of the squad, when you see the people who weren't playing today, it shows the strength and depth when we can produce a performance like that. And only time will tell. We've got. I mean, it's only 2 weeks ago where we're reeling because we had a bad start, but all of a sudden we've strung 4 in the trot together, and people are saying we're a team again. You know, it's a long way to go, and we just got to keep our feet in the ground and see what happens.
Before you both go, just one look at the first goal. Of course, Andrei Kanchelskis, during the game, Neil Webb said he didn't know, none of you knew that you could jump this high. This is your first chance of seeing it. Well, what kind of goal was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time obviously we can recall. I remember somebody getting played in, young Giggsy, yeah, and he's crossed it with his right foot, has he? Soon find out. No, outside of his left foot, and Andrei's jumped. Marvellous.
Andrei said in the first half time it was the first time.
Premier League, we're at Elland Road, the home of the current champions.